And then I have this other article that we can go through, which is potential playable races. Who will be? So I looked at every single race in Runeterra. Does Riot even do alpha? Well, they do, but it's an internal alpha. It's not as public. There's not like, you're not gonna be able to sign up on the website, like, 2xKO beta. It's not like this. Everyone can just register. You have to be invited into the alpha. The whole point of every single stream and every single video that I do is just to get invited into the alpha so I can play the Riot MMO earlier. Every 2 hours that I invest every morning is just for that one piece. And that's it. That's the whole reason we're here, guys, is just to get me in alpha. The call of Runeterra. With Riot Games MMO officially in the works, and the biggest question on every future player's mind is, who will I get to be? The world of Runeterra is vast and filled with countless cultures and species. Choosing which of these becomes playable is a monumental task. Balancing deep lore against the practicalities of game development like model design, animations, and narrative integration. This analysis will break down the most likely candidates for the world of Runeterra. So the cornerstone, these are very likely they're going to be an MMO. I do that to I do that too. Well, I'll ask them for a couple keys. Any successful MMO launches with a core set of races that are familiar yet fantastical. Analysis just right MMO will lean on the classical triad. Humans, Vastaya, and Yordles. These are obvious to anyone. These are going to be playable. I mean, like, it mirrors really the human elf dwarf, where the Yordle is kind of like the dwarf, the elf is the Vastaya, and then you have the humans. It's basic archetype. It's gonna be in the game. Humans guaranteed playable. They are the most populous and dominant species in Runeterra, forming the backbone of the most major nations. It's made the perfect accessible entry point for new players. The real stage to play with human will be the incredible cultural diversity. Like implementing through the regional sub-race systems, this is an efficient development choice using a single base model that can be customized with unique textures, gear, and abilities reflecting Runeterra's iconic factions. You have Demacia, Noxie, and Freljord built over. Humans are everywhere. You can see, like, this is a human in Targon. He's a Solari. This is a Lunari in Targon. This is a Shuriman. This is Noxus. There's Mbessa. There's Lee Sin in Ionia. There's Tryndamere in the Freljord. Humans everywhere, right? Most populous group in Runeterra are the humans. Then there's the Vastaya. The Vastaya are chimeric beings with both human and animal traits, making them the perfect exotic and beastkin race. Their lore presents countless tribes from the fox-like Vasani to the feline Kilash and aquatic Marai. I don't think you'll be able to play the Marai just because their models would be difficult. Creating unique models for every tribe is impractical. A more likely approach is a human plus character model. Players would start with a humanoid base and customize it with a vast selection of tribal features, ears, tails, horns, fur patterns, and scales. This offers deep customization while remaining manageable for developers. The Vastaya struggles against human expansion, also provides a powerful built-in narrative hook for players. And we see that in the Mbessa book, in terms of Vastaya struggle with humans expansion. Literally, in Kumungro, there's a Vastayan tribe that's literally being weakened because the forest of Kumungu is getting taken away and becoming weaker. Vastaya equal any other race. In a lot of cases, you're not wrong. The Vastaya family tree. Let me use this one. Vastaya. Yeah, okay. Vastaya. So Vastaya all come from the Vastaya Shire, and there's all these branches of them. You can see Ari, just over here. So you have the Landwalker tribes, you have the tribes of the sea, you have some shapeshifters, you have tribes of the sky. And really that's because they all originate from Vastaya Shire. So Vastaya Shire over here were the ones that battled the Titans. They were immortals, humans, that took the power of the spirit realm into themselves to battle the Titans a long time ago in Ionia. Merged with humans, and then you get these different tribes that branched off from them. The sea, the sky, and the land. So the thing is, there's so many branches that it comes off as, Vastaya are just everywhere. But then some people do confuse certain characters with Vastaya. You'll see them. Do you think Minotaur will be going to be playable? Oh, we're going to get to Minotaur. But yeah, Vastaya, I think you start out with a human base, and then you can add a couple features in there of different Vastaya that will make it, your own unique Vastaya. Because Vastaya really, they don't have a lot in common other than their base. Everyone from the Ari clan will probably have fox ears and some tails. They do, actually. You see that in Rune King. But there's just so many of them. Yordles will be playable. They're quintessential small race archetype. People want to be small for some reason. This animatic, often furry spirits from the mystical Bandle City are a must-have for visual diversity. Their lore offers unique gameplay opportunities as spirits. Their death could be explained as their essence returning to Bandle City to reform, a perfect in-universe explanation for the player's respawn mechanic. Yeah, they could literally lean into that, and as a Yordle, when you die, instead of going to like a graveyard and running back to your body, how it's done in World of Warcraft, for Yordles, you'll just go back to Bandle City and then run through a Bandle gate, through the Bandle Woods to get back to your body. Despite their cute appearance, characters like Kled, Unhinged Warrior, and Vex, Gloomy Mage prove that Yordle players won't be locked into a single personality type, which is important for those who are like into, what is it called? Role playing. So Yordles, playable for sure. These are the obvious ones. Guaranteed, playable, no questions asked. Now, likely and possible. These are races that I do think will be playable and are pretty likely to be playable beyond those core 3. They're not as guaranteed as these, but I think they have a decent chance of getting in. Trolls. Trolls are a strong candidate. They're a large brute race archetype. Far from being simple monsters, Runeterra's trolls have complex tribal societies in the Freljord. Frost trolls, and Shurima has sand trolls. The main hurdle is their size, which complicates armor design and navigation in player spaces. But these are solvable problems in modern MMO. You can just have like a race, a group of these trolls that you actually are playable. Like not all troll groups are playable, but there's a particular tribe in the Freljord and a tribe in Shurima that is playable. Minotaurs. I do think Minotaurs are going to be playable. Every single Minotaur that we know of in Runeterra all come from the Great Barrier. Fulfilling a classic fantasy archetype, Minotaurs are a strong contender for a playable race. They are a distant species, not a Vastayan tribe, distinct species, not a Vastayan tribe, and their history is a diaspora often clashing with Noxus, which makes them narratively flexible. We see them integrated into multiple factions, from the Noxian military to Demasia's dauntless vanguard, making them an easy fit for most starting regions. Like Trolls, they present a large model design challenge, but their strong fantasy appeal makes them a likely and welcome addition. So I do think that we will see Minotaurs and Trolls, and I think they would be playable in the Riot MMO. Chirian. We're getting into the possible. Like, these are pretty likely. I think Chirian I put right here because it is possible. They're a unique bat-like humanoid species native to the deep caves of Zaun. They are a distinct biological race, not a product of augmentation, and lore has shown us 2 bloodlines, the more Bistali Nocti and the more humanoid Fulgor, which are seen in Arcane. The Nocti are the ones that you see in Legends of Runeterra. They're like a little bit shorter, and they have like they kind of like a different foot look. But then in Arcane, we can see these are the Fulgor, which look more humanoid, and that's Scar. So you can see them in Arcane. As a playable race, they offer a truly unique aesthetic. However, their specific physiology and less developed lore might make them a better fit for a post-launch expansion centered on Zaun rather than a starting choice at launch. I think we'll get them eventually, but I think they'll come in the Zaun expansion and not at the launch of the Riot MMO. The Augmented. This is a truly innovative concept that captures the transformative fantasy of Piltover and Zaun. Instead of a biological race, players could choose to be an augmented, starting as a human and modifying their body with technology. Customization could include construct golems, which is the fully mechanical bodies built around a Hextech crystal core, or cyborgs, which is hex augmented, mortals who have replaced their flesh with superior Hextech prosthetics in the vein of characters like Camille and Victor. This path would offer unparalleled visual customization and could tie directly into crafting systems, making it a powerful and engaging player fantasy. So that would be the Augmented. I think they could be a playable race. They could turn it into like just you're a human in Vastaya, and eventually with the Zaun expansion you can augment, but they could also be an own selectable race as well. Powers beyond the player. Unlikely and not likely at all. Some of Runeterra's most iconic beings are fundamentally unsuited for player character role. Their exclusion is a deliberate world-building choice and establishing a power scale that makes the player's journey from adventurer to hero feel meaningful. These beings are the endgame, the bosses to fight, and the gods to appease. There is a branch, brain skipped. There is a branch, whoops, brain skipped. I don't know what you mean by branch. The undead. The sentient undead are almost entirely products of the Shadow Isles, bound by the horrors of the Black Mist. This geographical and narrative prison makes them an unlikely launch race. So I know some people really like being undead, but if you're undead in Runeterra, you're not going anywhere. Okay, the Shadow Isles locked you in. You're only able to travel as far as the Black Mist. And if the Black Mist is covering all of Runeterra, allowing for you to travel the world, we've got bigger problems than you. The problem is Viego and the end of Runeterra itself. So that's a problem. However, this inclusion would likely be a major feature of an inevitable Shadow Isles expansion. Once players help free the Isles from the Black Mist, it's conceivable that souls once trapped there will linger and join our side, free to travel Runeterra, similar to how Thresh now operates. Yeah, they'll be playable, and they will be like Thresh eventually, where you can journey through Runeterra, but at launch, you're very much constricted to the Shadow Isles, and so you're not going to be playable. The Voidborn. A lot of people say, oh, I want to play a Voidborn. You're not going to play a Voidborn at launch. The Voidborn are alien creatures from a dimension of pure nothingness, driven by an intense instinct to unmake and consume all of reality. Their fundamental nature makes them a poor fit for a player character. However, don't start feeling like, oh, it's impossible. I'll never make a Voidborn. I'm going to cry. Don't. Hey, calm down. The existence of Kaisa, a human who survived by bonding with a void symbiote, opens a slim, speculative path. A future void-themed expansion could potentially introduce a highly specialized void touch race or class, but this remains a distinct possibility and not a launch consideration. So eventually, we're going to be playing the Riot MMO. Everyone's going to be so happy. We're going to be having so much fun. The Cathy expansion comes out. You know Kai'Sa's going to be playing a big part of that expansion. She's going to be like our guide. And eventually there's people who look up to Kaisa and kind of want to be a part of her, or maybe they add to the lore and kind of retcon the past, and where she already has a following group. And that'll be a playable race of Voidborn. Although not really Voidborn, right? You're more in line with Kaisa, where you're a human and then you kind of took some void into yourself. But you're never going to be like freaking... Guys, you're not going to be able to play this, okay? Where is it? Yeah, this is not going to be playable, okay? You're not going to be able to play a Rek'Sai. You're not going to be able to play a Kha'Zix. That's not a playable race. Aren't Chirians Vastaya? No. Vastaya. Chirians are not Vastaya. There's a lot of races that people think are Vastaya that are not. Chirians are their own species. They come from the Sumps of Zon. They're like humans or Yordles. They come from their own place. They originated from the Sumps of Zon, and they're their own species altogether. They don't come from Vastaya Shire or anything like that. Should we branch? No. Which some have instituted comes from the IRL bat names called Chiropetia. Let's see. I don't think that's even. Let me see the Vastaya. Chira, the Silent Chorus. But that's Tribes of the Sky. They're definitely not that. And the Chirians are descendants of the Chira. I don't think so. It's possible, right? If Riot wants to change the lore in the future, they could absolutely make Chirians fall under Vastaya in some roundabout way and say they come from a tribe of Vastaya that literally just moved to Zon all together at once and never went anywhere else. But currently in the lore, they're not Vastaya. They're their own race that originated from the Sumps of Zon. They existed in the Sumps of Zon before even humans went down there. Because humans go down there and discover the Chirian. It's not like they were there and like the Vastaya Chirian went down there. They started like deciding they wanted to live in the Sump. Iceborn. Unlikely, guys. The Iceborn are individuals with a rare hereditary magical aptitude that grants resistance to cold and the ability to handle true ice and dark ice, stemming from an ancient bargain with Lysandra. Because this is a trait that can be found in multiple species like humans and trolls rather than a distinct race, it's unlikely to be a standalone option. While other MMOs have turned rare groups into playable races like Warlocks in World of Warcraft, the extreme rarity of Iceborn in the lore makes them a poor fit for a playable race or even class. They are simply too few in number to justify being a widespread player choice. So if you were thinking, I want to be an Iceborn, probably not. It's unlikely. There's very few of them. You have to be born. It's a hereditary thing. The only way it could ever work is maybe Lysandra finds a way to give like the ability of being Iceborn to people, and then it becomes a playable class in the Freljord expansion. That's possible. And that's the only way that it would ever work. But in terms of like just being playable, especially not at launch, Iceborn's not going to happen. The Ascended. I've heard some people say they wanted to play Ascended. The Shuriman Ascended are immortals remade by the immense celestial power of the Sun Disk. Beings like Azir, Nasus, and Renekton are effectively demigods, possessing strength that can level armies. Starting a game at this power level would invalidate the entire concept of progression, which is the core loop of an MMO. They are the epic forces that players will one day fight against or alongside, not become from the start. So you will not be an Ascended of Shurima, if that was your hope. If you were looking at Nasus and Renekton and saying, I want to be like that, that's probably not going to happen. The Darkin. I've heard some people say they want to be Darkin. The Darkin are fallen Ascended god warriors corrupted by the horrors of the void and their own hubris, who are sealed within their weapons. Characters like Aatrox and Rost are not just powerful, they are the sentient weapons of mass destruction whose very existence threatens the world. Their rarity is absolute, and their narrative function is that of major antagonists or a corrupting influence, not a heroic adventure. Okay? It's not you, my guy. Alright? You are not going to be a Darkin. No one's going to be a Darkin. Cosmic beings, celestials, spirits, dragons, I can group all these together. Not likely at all as well. This category of beings are fundamentally aspects of the universe. Celestials like Aurelian Soul forge stars. Spirits like Anivia and Ornn embody primal forces. And dragons are ancient superior race. Their scale and power are simply incompatible with an MMO playable perspective. This also includes a Targonian Ascended, mortals who climb Mount Targon and choose as hosts for celestial aspects like Leona, Diana, and Pantheon. This diversity is exceptionally rare, world-altering event, not a starting option for a player character. So, if you say, man, Taric is awesome, I want to climb Mount Targon and become an Ascended host and go wipe the floor with everything, probably not going to happen. If you can't be Ascended, you definitely can't be Darkened, exactly. But there's people that need that kind of clarity. I think you really know the lore, Luffy, and I'll tell you this, a lot of people do not know the lore.